welcome to Classic Car Cave. So this is a bit of a mishmash of a few things that we're doing on the XK. Basically trying to get all the bits and pieces together before we lay it onto the chassis, which we need to do very soon. A couple of things that I want to mention, or one thing certainly I wanted to mention last time was, you know, normally on channels like car channels we don't talk about politics or religion or Brexit or COVID or whatever it is, but the world does seem to be in quite a crazy situation, and you know, we seem to have so extreme left, you know, so extreme right. There seems to be no middle ground, which is very unfortunate, because I think kind of 70, certainly the majority are in that middle ground, but we seem to be having lunatics running left and right. Just a couple of things. One is I wanted to mention about electric cars. Now, per se, I have no issue with electric. I think in a city situation, having electric trams and electric cars is probably not a bad idea. I mean, the downside for me is, I mean, you know, let's face it, the very first cars on the road were electric. That's a fact, before the internal combustion engine came out. The problem for me is that the power you put into that, and they talk about zero emissions. Well, I'm sorry, but that's poppycock. The very fact that you're plugging it into a mains power that's probably oil or coal fired, or certainly fossil fuel fired, how is that green? It just does not make any sense to me. I'm sure we will get to that point, but we keep hearing this word, you know, this wonderful phrase, renewables. You know, we now know that wind power is not efficient. It's certainly not economic. There's so many of them shut down, it's unbelievable. And solar's okay up to a point. I mean, you know, there are other things, hydrogens, things like that coming online, and we will get there eventually. But this idea that I keep getting now, I get quite a few comments from people about, you know, 2030 there'll be no internal combustion engines. Well, I'm sorry, that's horseshit. It's not going to happen. It will happen eventually, but long after I'm dead. We're a long way from getting rid of the internal combustion engine, in my opinion. It's only my opinion, but I try to use some common sense with these things. I mean, it's like the internet, you know, people go down these, they call them rabbit holes. They're actually not, they're warrens, because there's multiple holes you can go down on the internet. So I just wanted to kind of put my point of view over there. I have nothing against electric at all. I think it's probably the way to go, but it's certainly not the way to go at the moment. You know, there are too many ifs and wherefores. We know that what we're going to do with all these billions of batteries, you know, where are we going to dump them, where are we going to put them, and it does cost more. You know, they talk about carbon footprint and all the rest of it. Don't even get me going with this Greta Thunberg, or Thunberg, or whatever her name is. As far as I'm concerned, she should be sectioned and put in a lunatic asylum. I mean, she's a puppet, a young puppet for the extreme left, and as far as I'm concerned, her mother and father should be charged for ruining her life, but whatever. Anyway, I digress, I go off the subject, but it does make me mad. I very rarely talk about this kind of stuff, and it's not for fear of I want to upset people. I think we should talk about it, but by the same token, we just seem to be far extreme left and far extreme right, and there just seems to be nobody in the middle anymore, and that's what I really feel for the younger generation. You know, I've had my time. And I just think we're going the wrong way about it. If we carry on like this, we're going to end up possibly in another, certainly civil disputes, hopefully not a war situation, but we're going to have a lot of problems with rioting on the streets and stuff like that, all the things that are happening with lack of food and this, that and the next thing. Anyway, on a better note, hope you enjoy the video, and sorry to have a bit of a rant, but it just does really piss me off sometimes. So take care. Okay, so there's your fuel tank. Everything's in there for the carburetor, the inlet manifold, all the screws. That's the reconditioned radiator. There's a few old parts as well, which you can probably recondition, do whatever. And most of the brand new stuff is in here, in this one, and here. This is the steering rack and assembly. And the wood, the dark wood that you had made, is in this box. So I've got a list of all the parts, and I've taken photographs of everything while it's on the floor. So there you go. There's your original steering wheel and all the other parts, steering column. That's it. If I come across any little bits and pieces, I'll let you know, or I'll bring them up, but I'm pretty sure that's the lot. we've spent quite a bit of time sorting all this out. So these are the parts that are going to go to the chromers. I'll take tomorrow. I'm not sure when I'll put this video up, but so there's the handbrake complete. The top of the door, the top of the windows, the front windscreen, the two side pillars. These are the door cappings here. This piece here is the boot and the two pieces there. The door handles, the back of the boot there, and the winding mechanism. So they're all got to get done. So I'll take them up tomorrow and get them sorted out. There's quite a bit of work to do on those two side pieces here of the windscreen on the pillar there on each side. They're quite bad. Somebody's put holes in them. There shouldn't be holes in them. I'm fairly sure there shouldn't be holes in them, or maybe there is. I'll have to take a check. That's how she looks with one of the headlights in anyway. The side pod and the indicator. So we'll set all of those up tomorrow. Unfortunately, I don't have the new adjusting screws for the headlamp, so we have to take this one apart to fit that one in. So this one is actually fitted in, it's screwed in, as you can see. We've got this top piece just loose, so we know where to elongate the hole if we have to elongate the hole. These are the original pods, but they were completely stripped off. If you look 3 or 4 years back, they were taken off, completely cleaned, any repairs done to them. The front of the bottom of the pods is where they go here. They tend to rot out. We've got 2 holes in the bottom of them, so any sweating, hopefully the water can come out. But once the car is painted, there'll be wax oiled inside anyway. But we took them off, re-welded them on, re-leaded them, and now we're just doing some finishing up work. And these 2 side light pods here, they're brand new. They were completely rotted out, and underneath the part of the wing that attaches to wasn't there. We had to completely rebuild them. So that's how it looks at the moment, and you can see that's really quite nicely in line there. So as you can see, this is actually not fixed in at the moment. It's movable, but it does line up this way. But you can see, to me, that looks like it should go further back onto that chrome, so it should be further back. There is an upset here, so it is meant to be like that, but I think it should go further back. But the strange thing is, these are the original chromes off the car, so the holes must be in the correct position, but I always thought that this came in line with the back of the chrome here, so it's a few mil out. But because I didn't think these were going to be good enough, they're going to need to be re-chromed, I bought new ones. Unfortunately, the new ones I bought, I'll show you against the old and the new, and somebody has drilled the holes in the wrong position, and I'll show you that right now. Basically, you can see that those two, the bottom one is an original, the top one is a brand new chrome ring. Now you can see that this hole here is much further forward. Okay, so much, it's a few mil, but you can see how much gap there is there compared to there. So this is an original one, and this is a reproduction, and you can see that these holes are too far back. Look at this back one here, and look how far back that is. So in fact, it doesn't fit correctly on these. The other thing you can see on this brand new one is you can see where the screws have to go, and you can see that would be near impossible to get that back screw in. It's right in between that lip. Whereas on this one, this is the older one, the original one, they're still in good nick. But you can see it's easy to get the screw in. The bottoms are the same. They've got these 4 holes in them. I think these are just weep holes to let any water out, and these are the 2 that you use. And they're perfect. They're fine on this one. But it's this top hole that's the problem. What's happening is the top piece is too far forward and it sticks out too much, and I still think it needs to come back even more. So I'm going to have to send these back, which is an absolute pain. The other problem is I bought them some years ago with the new lamps, with these new J lamps. So I bought This is the original one. It's actually not bad. There's a few bad bits on it, but to get it re-chromed, I don't know what it is. They're about £53 each, I think. But yeah, I don't know. It's just one of them things. But it's nice with a J in it. I mean, the new bulbs and that's going to look really nice. And that leaping cat, you can see what Amir did was he got my old strip that was on the car, and give it a clean up, and then cut it and used it. And you can see how nicely that. Excuse me, that was a torch, don't worry. You can see how nicely that fits. It's still got to come down a bit more, but it fits really nicely. And the leaping cat in the middle, it goes in at one end and in at the other end. So, yeah. Bonnet's all cracked, that's all got to come off the aluminium. We did it just to stop the aluminium from getting scuffed up. We just stuck something over it just to protect it for a while. But yeah, coming on nicely. The like cat looks really good on it. So there we go. We're fitting easy steering in this. This is a remote control. Well, I say remote. It's a rheostat. Now, Richard Owens, who's doing a XK150, the mechanical side anyway, he's just put one back into a car, but it had already been fitted before they did the new restoration. This car obviously has never had it. It's just had the normal rack and pinion steering. So what we have to do now, it's a slightly different system, mine. It looks very, very similar. It's from the same company, but I would think the one that Richard's done on the XK150 drop head, fixed head coupe is an older version, and it apparently works off the speedo. So the lower the speed, the more power I guess it would have put into the motor. This is not like this. This is, you can turn it off completely, or bring it in with basically a switch that you can turn, or a knob you can turn, which will be on the dashboard somewhere. But you can see we now have to cut it out. It's actually like this on this side, and then you can see obviously that box, that motor would not fit in there. So we're going to have to cut this out, get it to fit, and then we'll make some kind of box section to fit up inside it and weld it back in place so it fits correctly, but still got the strength in that bulkhead. So that's what we're doing at the moment. So we've got the steering column in, and you can see on here they're elongated the holes so we can get it up to the furthest position and the lowest, and you can see how it fits in down the bottom there. There's the plate, and there's the motor there on the corner. So what we can do is we'll give it a good clean up now, make sure it's all okay, and we could even fabricate something in there, but to be honest, I don't think that box section needs it, but we'll clean up inside there anyway. And that should be it fitted.